Welcome to the BOREDinDE Podcast. And now your host, Tucker. What's going on, everybody? It's your man Tuck from BOREDinDE. I got my co-host Jarrell in the house with me, and we have the beautiful, awesome Miss Universe herself, Vanity Constance. What's going on, baby?
Hey, I'm staying groovy, taking it hour by hour.
So what's been going on with you lately there?
What's been going on? I mean, we were just talking about being aligned and centered. I feel like this saying is so cliche, but it really is about like a better you for a better everything else in life. So I feel like I'm really focused on that, and I'm really practicing the things that I talk about, and it's going good. It's raw, but it's good.
So how did you get here? Like, so your
parents.
Well, I'm sure they had a fun time, but I'm talking about how did you wind up in Delaware? Like, what's that journey?
Okay.
How did you wind up in becoming?
I ended up here. Man, come here, influencer. I'm just vanity. I'm not an influencer, but I'm just vanity. Like, I firmly believe, like, I came here because my parents, my dad, my stepdad always had jobs like with the government and stuff and got appointed by the governor. So they now live in Tallahassee, Florida. I moved out my 17th birthday and been on my own ever since.
And you were in Delaware at that point?
I've been in Delaware since I was 14, but I've been on my own. Like, I moved out the house, 17th birthday, been out. Like, I'm out here in these streets.
You quietly have done more than most people your age at the age of 17, period. Because some people haven't moved out yet, So
Well, everybody's journey different too. I don't know.
You're right. But some people's journey need to start. It needs to start.
Lindsay, stop it! Stop it!
Need to start. He's not wrong. How much more? Life on your own is great. You make your own decisions, and I feel that it was the best thing. You get out there and you understand what you can and what you can't do, and you understand budgets, because you might not have been taught a budget in school, but real life will teach that ass budget real quick.
Well, okay, but let's be real. Most of the people who haven't began adulting at an age where they should have been adulting are typically either afraid of the responsibility, or they're so stuck in their comfort zone. It's a miniature version of what I think of as the hood mentality. When somebody says, "Oh, this is my block, and I'm never leaving my block," so then they never see the world, they never grow, because they're either afraid of what's outside of here, or they're so lost in being in their comfort zone that they won't experience that next step. Because so.
I see you on that. So what's going on? Like when me and you first hooked up, you were just Vanity Constance, but now you got like Vanity Creates and Vanity this, that, and you got a whole bunch of vanities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So tell us about Vanity Creates.
Okay, so Vanity Creates. So so interesting that you said that, because I'm actually honestly in the process of rebranding. I feel like it's too much vanity. I'm looking for alternative company names that still represent who I am and what I do. But I also work with a collective of creatives and entrepreneurs as well that are on my team. And although it's Vanity Creates, I wouldn't be nothing without the people I work with.
Okay.
So right now I'm looking for more inclusive company names, and it's all about creating business solutions for you. So a lot of the times I'm working with entrepreneurs that need marketing assistance. That's like the number one thing that I do help entrepreneurs out with right now during the pandemic. Like, hey, I need my menu updated. Hey, I need to spruce up this. Hey, I need a hiring flyer. Can someone look at my website? Oh, I need some graphics for my event, like my Eventbrite. I need some flyers, some content for that. So I've really found myself being a content creator and having the opportunity to employ other creatives that are content creators as well. So it's really fun. It's really fun. I like it because if I don't know the answer to something, I'm definitely going to ask someone else. But yeah, I love. It's like I'm really finding out what I love to do, and it's, like I'm all about strengthening strengths. So it's not about doing everything. It's about like, hey, what am I good at? How can I help other people, and how can it be like a win-win situation? So
And I think that's
that's what I'm
good
getting.
that you got into that, because I know as far as social media, some people think you open up a social media account and all the feeds and floods is going to flood right in. Like you don't have to do nothing. They don't understand that it's strategic what you have to do from the time you post to what you post to how you
Mm,
comment and how you incorporate others into, your
mhm.
feed. It's a lot more than that. Wouldn't you think so, Jarrell?
Ah,
Listen,
right?
125%. But I think that most people aren't aware of how to communicate with people online. They only know how to actually just interact. They don't know how to create engagement, right? And if you can't create
Mm-hmm.
engagement, you can't really drive people in. But I was curious,
Mm.
what got you into this? Like, how did you? Were you self-taught? Like, what groomed you into digital marketing and content creation?
Okay. So I would say the first company that gave me a chance in Wilmington, Delaware, when I was 18 years old, I joined this program called Public Allies, and it's a program through AmeriCorps, right? So when I was 18 years old, I knew I wanted to make a difference. I was a volunteer firefighter. I I really wanted to branch off, and I was living in Middletown, and it was my first time kind of moving to Wilmington at the time. And I was thinking about ways like how can I be connected to my community? How can I give back? Because I was interested in like Peace Corps, going away. And I was like, what am I passionate about? I know I like helping people. I love disaster relief. Like I could see myself doing that. Like my mid 40s, have this disaster relief family, save lives, that kind of stuff. But basically, joined AmeriCorps, and a lady named Christian Willauer, she ended up being my boss and everything. She gave me a chance. And mind you, I was up against people that had graduated, that had degrees, had all this experience. But Christian saw something in me. Her and her team taught me how to like answer the phone professionally. They gave me the ability to start the social media for Westside Girls Together. Like that's the organization I ended up joining and starting from the ground up. They gave me the ability to learn everything. Like I had to start up the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube channel. I had to learn all the mechanics about outreach and marketing and media, public relations, how to write what's it called, a press release, how to contact the media and marketing. Like I had to learn all these great things just from the muscle, from experience, and from asking people that were here before me. So I would just say that somebody years ago gave me the chance to actually do something from the ground up, and I ended up just learning. And then while I was working at Westside Girls Together, other organizations that I was already working with saw what I was doing for Westside Grows. Then I started getting contract work. Found out what that word meant. That was like my favorite C word. I'm like, okay, I can do contract work. I don't gotta work for y'all, but I can make money. So it started this I want to say this positive rolling effect of me marketing myself in Delaware as like, hey, Vanity works at Westside Girls Together, but she can also like if you need your Facebook page started, if you need something started, if you need something. So it started out just being like little favors, like, oh, I got you, I can do that. Da, 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 da. So that's how it started. That's like the long story. Sorry. I was a public ally. Yeah, that was like the long story.
Nah, but that's real though. That's real. I mean, people underestimate the fact that support means a lot, and sometimes you just need somebody to give you a chance. Somebody open the door.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people assume that you have to already have all this knowledge or open the door for somebody. If they're gonna work hard, they'll figure it out. So
Facts. That's so true. I really agree with that. And like that's so true. It's so true. I think that somebody had to give all of us chances too, you know? And that's how we keep paying it forward. Just keep paying it forward. So
Now,
I'm
sometimes,
grateful.
do you feel overwhelmed with
Oh yeah,
everything?
yes. Sometimes it's like I don't feel like people understand that I'm one person behind the like behind closed doors, you know, I'm just me,
Hmm.
right? And like I don't have like I do need like an executive assistant. Like I would love that. And I've been really thinking about like should I invest in that? But yeah, it does kind of get overwhelming at times. But it's just like I'm really learning now. As a grown up, I feel like I'm finally a grown up. I don't know why. I'm 27. I finally feel like it. But I'm just like, you know, I just gotta pace myself, and the things I can commit to, I can commit to, and if I can't, I can't. So, and just being honest from the get go. So it's like being honest with yourself. It starts like that. Then everything else reflects. But if I'm like yes, yes, yes to everything, that's not cool.
Right.
But if I'm like yes, I'll come back to you about that. Nah, that doesn't work for me, but I can pass it on to somebody else. So it's like I'm navigating how, like what works for me.
Because that leads me into the next thing about your mental hygiene workshops, like how important mental hygiene is for all of us, especially those of in the Black community and everything.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
Oh, mental hygiene in the Black community. It's definitely needed more. I don't feel like we talk about what even mental health is. Like, what is mental health in the Black community? I feel like we're taught so much to be resilient. We're taught so much to be this figure, like I'm strong. It's like this fragile masculinity, fragile like feminine, you know, like it's very like I don't like the mind frame because I think it's very fragile, and I think that it's all about ego and pride. So I feel like
which will kill you every time.
Every time, and it's like if you base the foundation of your mental health on all these things that don't matter, all these materialistic things that don't matter, or like what the Jonases are doing, or like self-love is supposed to look like this. No, self-love actually is very raw. Like that's why I use the word raw. It's very grueling. It's uncomfortable. It like you feel alone. You feel crazy feelings.
It's personal.
Crazy.
It's personal.
That's why I'm an advocate cannabis consumer, because it helps me with my mental health. It helps me with my anxiety. It helps me with managing my emotions and when I feel like clustered, and because I don't feel like we were taught correct conflict resolution. We weren't taught effective ways to communicate, like effective ways to communicate properly. Like even if I look at my parents, like for an example, like it's just crazy. Like it's just crazy.
Do you think they knew? Because I don't know. That's how I look at it. I hit a point in my life where I started to realize that the generation before us typically didn't. They were forced to ignore mental health. So and when I say, and I mean exactly how I say it, forced to ignore it because life goes on, time goes on, and nobody cares. That's how they treated it. So their goals for their children weren't to be healthy mentally, but they were to survive by our standards, right? They looked at it, you know, they didn't look at that deeper level to say, well, are they actually okay? No. Are you able to go to work, don't have a bunch of babies, don't go to jail? Sit.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you.
So to be able to teach that is where we get to even that difficult part. Even like, I don't even know how they would try, like, you know, probably wind up here.
Yeah, because, you know, growing up, you know, it's like, as men we're taught we shouldn't cry, we shouldn't show emotion, we always have to be hard, and it's a lot of good brothers that was always hard and ain't here no more because they was always hard and everything.
And that's really real though. It's just like that mentality that like I'm all right, I'm straight, I'm good, self-made, yo, if you don't relax, like you need a hug, like just going back to the principle of like, what does love mean to you? Like, I don't feel like it's defined by person. Like people want it to be a collective thing, but we weren't collectively growing up together. I don't collectively have the same wounds that you have. So how it's like, I can't even relate to that. Like, you know, like it's just different. It's like, and that comes down to like how we function in relationships, even now, like in society. It's just like, how are we ever going to like really heal, you know? And I actually have a personal mantra for myself. It's like, I'm not here to save everyone, but what I can do is be an inspiration. And that's why I'm very vocal about the positive things that I do, because I know that I was in the mall a couple days ago, and it made me like kind of cry that this young girl, she was 18 years old. I know her through another mutual friend, but she actually told me, she showed her friends me and was like, oh, this the girl that took down the statue for Christopher Columbus. And she was like, yo, you real for that. You know what I mean? And the fact that like that meant something to me. Like that's the only thing that mattered to me. You understand? Like
Right.
nothing else mattered to me besides a young person telling me that it meant something to them.
Cause that
And that's
impact you
why
had with that whole statue coming down, cause I seen you in the paper, look like you was face to face with somebody, like somebody was,
he
backing
had
you
it.
down.
I had time, and let me tell you, let me comment on that. Can I comment on that real quick?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay, let me comment on that. Okay, so basically, here's what happened. We didn't even know that the Rodney Caesar statue was coming down until like 20 minutes before. I was at the Christopher Columbus statue, didn't know that was happening the day it happened. Everything happened so fast, right? As we're cleaning up the debris and everything at the Christopher Columbus statue, I was with WITN, and their group was helping me sweep up everything because the residents thought that we actually took off the statue and left the debris. I was like, no, this was a rush statue removal because they didn't want us to like damage the property, So we were cleaning up the property, then got a call, oh, they're taking down the Caesar Rodney today too. So that was a rush process. So after that, we rushed all the way to Rodney Square. We get there, everything's fine. I'm on Facebook Live, I'm recording the process. Mind you, I really had nothing to really, it was, I don't know, like everything happened like the same day. I was really focused on Christopher Columbus, and it was more so like that happened like, oh, okay, we're doing Caesar Rodney today too. Okay. But people were already tagging me in the post, like take down this, take down that. But I also want people to know, like, it takes time for these things to happen. Initially, it's just like I wanted to have like a community event there where we had different people reach out to me that were from the indigenous tribes, and they wanted to have like a healing ceremony and make it a community thing. And even I reached out to like the Italian American community and was having uncomfortable conversations and everything. Even if they wanted to have, like, I was open to other conversations. Like, I was telling them, listen, I'm not anti-Italian American. I'm anti-racism and anti-white supremacy. So if y'all had a positive person that was Italian American, I want to be focused on this shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So basically, everything happened so fast. So yeah, after leaving the Christopher Columbus, went to Caesar Rodney, found out while we were at Caesar Rodney for like an hour that there was going to be a protest against the statue. I was like, really? The statue already coming down. It's just like the Confederate people. The hell, you still got the Confederate flag? We fucking won. So I'm like, oh. So when I heard they were going to be there, I was like, I got time. I was like, this is my calling. Because I
Yo, you see that finger? She's like, I got time.
Let me tell you. No, when I heard it was going to be like, oh, it was going to be white people there that were protesting against this shit. Oh, I was ready. Because I was like, listen, you're not going to sit here. Like, nobody's getting arrested on my watch. Like, people are here. Like, no, this is my community. Like, I just had this fire in me. Like, I was ready. Like, okay. Like, okay. So.
Yo, I love it when she gets amped. I'm sorry, Vandy. I love it when she can't go, Vandy.
Because I'm just thinking about the story. So we're there being peaceful. Everybody's gathering. The group is, spreading out. It's like really growing at this point. So 7 p.m. comes. Homeboy comes. He's yelling. He comes yelling over. Here's me. I see him. I'm the only person that sees him running over, kind of, or that says something. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. So I already come up to him, and I'm like, nobody wants you here. Da 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 da. And mind you, he knows me. He's like, Vanity. He's like, listen to me. This is our history. I'm like, this is your history. This is your history. So it was just crazy. And then he's going to tell us that he's like, oh, I have more people coming. His people came. They had guns in their hip and stuff, trying to intimidate. They were talking all this cash money shit. And there were some cooner people over there. Were some black people that were with them too. And I'm sitting there saying all this coon shit to them. I'm like, I don't care. I was being disrespectful. I don't care. I was educating this black woman that was over there. I told her really quickly, I'm like, listen, Karen's only over here because she wants your husband. And I was I don't care. Like, I was ready, and I'm still ready. You understand? At any moment, anytime. Like, I feel like so many things I want to say, but let me tell you this. So,
but hey, this BOREDinDE, you can say whatever. You can say whatever.
So I got so much hate mail from people. I had to block like so many people, and like white people calling me racist and all this other stuff. It was so much stuff from that. But I feel as though, as a person, I'm mixed, right? I just found out my dad was white 2 years. Well, I didn't find out he was white 2 years ago, but my dad is white. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm constantly pulled because it's just like, yo, I'm a black woman, but my dad, you know, my dad is fucking white. You know, like he ain't like white. He's like blue eyes white. You understand?
Soccer dad white.
Soccer dad white, and I just met him, so I can only relate to, you know, my black background, and I only know him. I don't know like the whole white family or nothing. So, but it's just more so like I felt like I had to speak up because I felt like I was like the lightest person there, and you weren't about to come. I would like, I don't like when I just felt like I really had to speak up. Nobody there was being vocal or anything, and I wanted him to fuck out. Like, he was negative. He came over there yelling and screaming, and I felt as though like I had to protect the people that were there that were deeper skin tones than me. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like we talk anytime. Like, I feel like it's something I just get really, I don't play that kind of stuff. When it comes to, we were being peaceful, everybody's having a good time. I don't like when people come and they try to disrupt the vibes. Like, no, we're just removing statues of hate and oppression. That's it. And now I'm just grateful that the city of Wilmington, like, now they're working with me and a group of other people with having more positive statues and positive art in the city of Wilmington. So I'm really grateful that conversation opened up and the city's actually listening a little bit now. So it's like more things planned after the removal. It's not just like, oh, it's removed, now what? No, it's actually things in the background I've been working on, but I haven't spoke about it on social media yet because I want to make sure it's real solid, and I'm working with like behind the scenes shit. So,
and I think that's beautiful that you have a genuine love for this. Like you're genuine, because I've seen a lot of people that hopped on the protest bandwagon, and then when you try to talk to them about what's going on, they're really skittish about what they're there for. They're skittish about their purpose there. But you know, you always been, you know, fluid. You've been transparent about how you feel about things and such of that sort. And I thought it was good, and you're definitely a nice role model. And to hear that story about the young lady in the mall that pretty much stopped you. You know?
That made me so happy. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, that's what you do.
Like,
that's literally the purpose.
That's like the main. That's the only, like, that was like a godsend. Like, with me hearing, because it was just like, okay. So, but thank you for that. I really appreciate your kind words too. Thank you.
So you're in such a positive space. I have a question because Tuck brought it up. Don't blame me.
It's okay. What's up?
So in theory, right, those people who, because the second that Tuck mentioned, those people who say that they're, you know, down for the cause and say that they're about this, but when you start to ask for details, you start to dig in, you start to ask them to engage in any way, shape, or form, now all of a sudden they disappeared or not, they're not there anywhere in any way that they seem they are. How do you end up dealing with them? Because you're somebody who's so in the mix that they see you, right? Like they'll talk that, and then they're going to see you because they can't not. So what's that like?
Okay, I have two things for that. So on a genuine note, sometimes I don't think people understand that community work and doing things in your neighborhood can be really draining. And a lot of people that are community leaders need to take a step back, and they don't know how to communicate. Like, this is draining, and I had to pour back into myself, you know, where I don't think we talk about that enough, where people think I'm always like this bubbly person, like, oh, she's so full of life. I'm full of life because I pour energy into myself. If I don't, I'm a miserable ass person. I'm not pleasant. I don't feel happy. Like, it takes energy to be bubbly. It takes energy to be myself, to fuel my personality. So I have to be the best Vanity. And, you know, that's why I'm constantly just talking to myself with affirmations and writing things out and reminding myself why I'm doing the things I'm doing. So that's one part. And a genuine note, that's one aspect that I see that people may take, you know, and I don't always communicate that, like, yo, I feel crazy right now. Like, I need to pour back into myself. And so it's just like, sometimes I don't effectively communicate that, and I answer things like a politician because I always feel like people are watching me. And it's not me being fake. It's just me answering it in a way that's like, I'm so used to answering things in a cookie cutter way, you know? So I'm not being fake. It's just that I don't know, like, that's just how I'm managing my emotions at the time. Or somebody else can say that too. But for the people that aren't genuine, like the part 2 to that, I feel like everybody's trying to have an identity and cling to something to be popular or to go viral. And community work, I've been doing this shit for years, like in the gutter. Like, I've been doing this kind of stuff, even like, I just remember going to Flint, Michigan twice, you know, with Aaron Hudd and like doing stuff back in the day. Like, it's just like, it keeps going, you know? And I feel like people sometimes think they have to compete when it comes to community work. And you feeding 300 people and you feeding 3 people or 30 people has nothing to do with anybody else. Like, everybody's trying to compete for like, oh, I'm fed 3,000 people, or, you know, 2,000 businesses got this assistance for me. I don't give a fuck. It's all about what success means to you. And I feel like certain people get in community work because they feel like, oh, this is the easy way for me to get success, or this is the easy way for me to get noticed for this and that and get awards. You in it for the wrong reasons. But the wrong reasons, people, we can point them out, and we can identify them. So it's just good just being aware and mindful of that kind of shit. It is annoying because I'll be like, what the fuck? I don't care. Like, okay. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, you want to go do that? And I don't like in Delaware, if one person's doing one thing, everybody thinks like somebody else can't do the same thing.
Right.
Sweetheart, we're not the same. We're not the same, never will be. So I'm like, we got to have an understanding, like, yeah, people can both be great. Just because I'm having a Easter kickoff on one side of the community doesn't mean the other side of the community can't have a kickoff too. It's like, I learned this from the Juneteenth event a couple weeks ago. People are just on a safer place on the plantation, but they're not off the plantation yet with their mentality. And it's like, I find that a lot in Delaware, you know, as a native Houstonian, you know, Houstonian, you know, I find that it's like a mentality around here where it's just like, why are they doing that? Da, 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 da. You know what? Go ahead and do it, because it's never going to be like mine anyway. And second off, it's just like, the more the merrier. It doesn't matter. Like, it's so many people, it's so many youth to attract, it's so many people to meet and network with. And Delaware's big. Like, we don't do enough events in Lower Delaware. So why not migrate and shift your audience or your outreach there? Like, it's no reason for us to be fighting or fussing about community shit.
Crabs in the barrel.
Yeah, it's like, it's really a mentality. Like, I don't got time for it, and I'm just glad that I'm around genuine people. Like,
you're right about that, because I know personally I had to shrink my circle because I found myself affiliating with people that their only interest was clout chasing. That was their only interest. As long as it looked good on the face, they just wanted to have that clout, to have that, you know, I know such and such, or I met such and such, or the mayor knows me, or such and such. And it's like, nah. And they really weren't for the community. They, coming out their mouth, they say they for the community, but their actions was always in favor of them, not the community. So that's pretty much why I fell back on a lot of things. And, you know, now with this podcast and stuff, I get a chance to really sit up and bust it up with people that are in my circle that you may not see me with daily, because I consider you part of my circle, and I consider you a dear friend. You're one of the few people that if you called and you need me, I'm doing everything I can to get there. And I know you're pretty much the same way. And, you know, my boy Jarrell, you know, I get on his nerves because he's like, I told you how we going to do this, but you still want to do it your way. What the hell? So after this, he'll probably be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through this again for the fourth time.
We gotta talk about this now. We gotta talk about this now. Like, this has nothing to do. Listen, you had to shrink your circle. Go back to that.
Okay. Yeah.
I know I'm listening to that. I'm listening to that too.
I definitely had to shrink my circle. It's not like I stopped being friends with certain people, but you have to really understand that who you choose to hang out with is a reflection of yourself, regardless if you act like them or not. You know, when you hang with a certain type person, if that person's always known for clout chasing, you automatically get looped in that group of clout chasing. And, you know, people forget about the work. You know, it's like they do just enough work to get their name out there. And then once their name is out there, then they trying to sell you on something else. It's like, you know, the snake oil salesman and stuff like that. They try to sell you on the other stuff. And it's like, there's enough space for everybody to be great. There's enough going on. Like you said, we could have had 30 Juneteenth specials going on. We could have. And it still would have been people that have been like, well, damn, I missed it. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
It's just getting people just getting out there. It's just so like, even like with this podcast and what you're doing, people see us do it and then they're like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and get into it because I'm going to do it better than them. Well, that's fine, but you don't have to announce it. You don't have to put me down to get yourself there. Just like, because one of the things that used to irk me when we used to hang out is that people always had an opinion about you, but it was always the people that didn't know you. Like, you from the outside looking in, and you're like, oh, she's always so bubbly. She fake conscious, this and that. I'm like, but you don't know her. If you sit and talk to her, that's her genuine spirit, 24/7. There is no switch. She turns that off and on. And I got into an argument with a couple people where they were like, well, she always has her name in the mix. She never puts her name in the mix. She's in the mix trying to help bring awareness to whatever topic or image she's fighting against to bring something there. You never see, you know, you don't never plug yourself. We know you're Vanity, but you don't plug yourself. You got some people that they constantly plug themselves. They'd be like, well, I'm such and such, and I'm here at the Caesar Rodney statue takedown because, you know, us here at such and such, we always show up on time and stuff. And it's like, okay, so you pushing your brand. We're going to go ahead and push that to the side. I'm going to let you be great, but it just needs to be more about the act. I mean, I don't care, you know, like put like this, like even what you saying, the statues being taken down, you were bringing awareness to it, but the city already had the ball in motion. It just happened to correspond with you bringing attention to it. Like, you had no idea about Caesar Rodney.
I was like, guys, I was telling people, and it was just so much. But I listened to people that I listened to people that I would listen to, if that makes sense. You know, I was in a receiving mode to listen to people that were talking to me, giving me feedback. And it's like I wanted to do like another live speaking about, like, I didn't know about certain things, like things like behind the scenes. Like, I'm like, guys, I really didn't know, you know, and I wasn't trying to step on anybody's toes. And the same day I made the petition, somebody made a Facebook group talking about let's take the statue down. And that was very confusing to me because I'm like, we could have worked together and, you know what I mean, made it like that
was that clout chasing thing.
Yeah, like, and I honestly, like, it threw me off because I'm like, are we together? Are we not together? Are we, like, what? And I'm only
compete. Like, we can't compete. Like, that's one of those things that we keep missing. That a lot of us miss. We can't compete because there's not enough of us in this fight to compete with each other. We'll take each other out, and they will let us take each other out. They will watch us.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Like, I agree with that. And it's like, I stopped. Even somebody was talking to me 2 days ago when he saw me at Leroy's. He said he used to think I was mad annoying until he actually isn't enlightened himself and he feels conscious now or whatever. And I was like, I'm not even fucking conscious. I'm just Vanity. I was like, so the fact that he was like, I used to think you were so annoying. Like, you would just be talking about love and light and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, well, that was a vibration that you were receiving. That had nothing to do with me. Like, you know, so it's just, and I'm not here to be everybody's best friend.
Right.
Like, I'm not here to appease everyone. I'm collecting funeral guests at my funeral. I don't give a fuck about what anybody has to say, you know? Like, nah. So I've heard a lot of things too, but I also consider you like a dear friend as well, and I'm
Oh,
so
that's what's
grateful to
up.
be in this platform as well. Like I really think like this is bomb. Like I never seen one like this. This is cutting
Mhm.
edge. So if anybody ever like takes this shit, I'm gonna be very vocal about it because they had to see it on here. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you fucking hater. Like so
Because
like yeah.
another thing I wanted to ask you about too.
Hmm.
You always put up positive posts, and you
Yeah.
always share, how you found self love and everything like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember the post verbatim, but it was something along the lines: "Is this because I love myself? Don't make my love easy for you to get."
Yep.
Because some people think that you're so lovey dovey, it's like, oh, I can get them drawers, but it has nothing to do with that. They mix everything up.
Looks like they gotta love themselves a little more too.
Right.
Because my thing is like the reason I'm positive and everything, uh my constant teacher is Robert Greene. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You won't ever know what angle I'm coming from. I'm positive, baby. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't say shit about me. Like I'm positive. What you look like talking about a positive ass person? You look crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel as though I'm always going to take the high road, or I'm going to be off the road and you don't know what road I'm taking. So that's the only approach I'm going to take. So everything in life is screenshotable.
Yeah.
So if you're going to screenshot something about me, something I
Mm-hmm.
said,
Mm-hmm.
like, all right,
I just
screenshot
I just
away.
think a lot of people are just scared to be as open as you are with themselves.
You mentioned how a lot of times people can think that your answers are cookie cutter, or you learn how to kind of watch your words because you learn the power of your voice, and you learn the power of when you speak, who's listening, and that everybody is listening. How did you learn that power? How did you learn the power of your voice in your connection?
Oh, now I was thinking, like, honestly, it's like, to be honest, like, I watch other people that I admire and how they move.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I've learned to adapt certain habits that work for me. And I've learned that, yeah, I feel like I've adapted from watching other people that I admire and how they move and stuff. I just started adapting the same principles, and it's working out for me. Like I feel as though majority of the time, 98% of the time, people just nosy and they don't give a fuck. But the 2% of people that do care, that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that know you, that's what matters. But everybody else, it's just chatter. It's emptiness. It doesn't mean anything. People are just out here with their own intentions, their own motives, and it's like you have to have your own motives and be strong in that. And it's just like I'm dedicated to just being me. Like just being myself. That's it. So that's it. I love Harriet Tubman. I feel like she was such a strong leader. Like that's like my daughter's name. I already made it up. Like Harriet's gonna be her name. Like I really admire like strong women that lead and that still enjoy being like effeminate, like just being a lady, but they still are like leaders and stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like yeah, I follow the teachings of like a lot of people. I feel as though.
And that's dope. The reason what made me ask that, made me curious about that, is I think a lot of times we struggle as people. I think people struggle with knowing their own power, knowing their own voice, and knowing the range of people they reach. So they aren't as aware of how they can be perceived, of what they say, or even the energy that comes from them. So it's always important.
Facts. Facts. And I love your way with words. He came to the Juneteenth event. He snapped.
Man.
He snapped. Like,
Yeah.
he snapped. Like, what? You always snap, though. Like, since 2017 when I met you, you've been snapping. So, you have a way with words, too, that, like, I never forgot that. I was like, yo, that was... Woo.
No, but I appreciate that. I think that for me, when I speak, I just try to, even when I do my poetry, so even improv, I try to have, as from what you do and Tuck knows from what he does, when the reaction you can garner, one word or one sentence can really affect someone's mindset. So you could say something, and for you that was just something that flowed, that flew out. It could have been just an expression, but for somebody else, they might take that to heart, and that might change their focus. That can shift their reality. You see what I'm saying? Like sometimes when people don't, just a different perspective can change understanding. And
that's so true.
It's all about that. A lot of times, and this kind of goes back to what you was mentioning before, even about the mental health of the mental health of Black people, and sometimes not necessarily nurturing it and being too hard, or a lot of times that equals us being too closed. So we get too closed-minded. For the longest time of my life, therapy was perceived as a white thing. They were fine with it. Oh yeah, no, doing those things, but we were not. It took a long time for the Black community to say, no, you probably need to talk to somebody. Right? No, those are real issues. You probably should speak on them because that's not normal. And not even not accepting that we might need a different perspective, and sometimes just having a conversation with somebody, just having a mental release can open up doors within yourself, So.
No, I really like that. Joel. I really do.
Yeah, that boy is something else with words. I mean, his words are so potent. He got people hating on him from all over from a poem that was just humbly off the dome.
Oh yeah, his stuff, your stuff do be off the dome, because I feel like you can look at anything, any situation, and you just be flowing. So I can only imagine. I mean, you're gonna have haters because that's raw talent, like. For
me, when I did that poem, I did an improv poem, and I posted it, and I called it Not Debatable. And because to me, human rights aren't debatable. Who receives human rights shouldn't be debatable. It's not a debate on that at all. So I didn't think that I would receive backlash on it. It's, I almost equated to you saying, hey, we're going to take down the statues of the oppressors. Makes sense, right? And then all of a sudden, there's a backlash that comes, and you're like, why? Why do people have a problem with this? Why is this an issue? Because these things shouldn't be debatable. I don't need you. I don't want your critique. I don't care how, and I actually mentioned this in the poem to a certain extent. I don't care how many laws you say that were broken. There's a due process that's supposed to occur. Don't argue with me about whether or not somebody should be sentenced to the death penalty on the street, because you're not going to win that argument. Like, it's not debatable. And then people started, like, the comment section got crazy. Like, it was like they were really upset. You would have thought that I was threatening to take away their rights. I was called racist.
We was about to suit up.
Like what?
But for what? People were triggered. They were triggered. It was all triggering. They was triggered. They was like, oh, who does he think? You know what? I'm glad that you stand firm in who you are, because people will make you question yourself. You know who you are. You know who you are. You know who you represent. If they want to say something, that's your opinion. But if it gets too disrespectful, to me, if it gets too disrespectful, get the fuck off my page. You know what I mean? Like, if you really don't agree, then don't agree by yourself. Like, so I love your poems. Keep sharing them, keep posting them up. Like, that's your truth, and nobody can ever take that away from you. Like, I love it. I'm here for it anytime.
Listen, I appreciate that. How did you manage the backlash when you was taking down the statues and all the comments? How did you manage dealing with all that negative energy?
I'm used to it. I don't care. I'm used to it. I'm used to it. I've gotten so many comments about shit, throughout the years about stuff. And, I'm just grateful that, even that night that I went back home, everybody, I thought I was going to meet up with friends and stuff. I actually was alone that night. I took a shower, you know what I mean? And I stayed home. I celebrated. I bought a bottle of wine, poured myself a glass of wine and went to bed. I was like, yo, I need to relax from all this energy, cleanse it off. I did sage myself, and I prayed and I meditated, and I was like, yo, all right, it's more work to be done. And that was my mindset, but that was my mindset. I'm sticking to it. But I was so used to because I did make a comment about the guy online, and I made some grammatical errors. So the racist people, they chewed me up for not being grammatically like grammatically correct. And then they chewed me up for like calling the white guy a cracker. And then they chewed me up. And I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, I don't care, because I know I'm not racist. So anybody calling me racist, I don't care. I know I'm not racist. I don't. So it's like somebody calling me any other name. Like I know me. Like, so it's just more so like my intention isn't to. I'm never bringing down someone just to bring someone down. If I'm doing something, it's because I really firmly believe in that and I know it to be right. So I don't, like I said, it's like once you know you're not here to be friends with everybody and everybody's not going to like you, you have this certain mentality that kind of armors you throughout the day. That it's like, you know what? They're probably not going to agree. They're probably going to talk about me and say things, but do I really give a fuck? I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, I love that expression. You're like, do I give a fuck? No. No.
No.
Did you always have that knowledge yourself, or did that come over time?
It's really a daily thing. It's a daily thing. It's not even like, oh, I'm this confident person. No, it's a daily thing, because sometimes I have my days where I don't want to be vanity. I'm like, I don't want any of this shit. I'm like, what is life? What's my purpose? What's going on? But no, I think it's a daily practice, but at the end of the day, I know who I am. It's like, but it is definitely like a daily practice, being just repeatedly being and saying to myself the affirmations that I truly believe in. And it's like, at the end of the day, Vanity, you know yourself. Do not question it. Do not question it. So, it really comes from that mentality. And because it's like, I don't have any family in Delaware, so I've had to create this very protective nature about myself. And so I think that also attributes to it too. I'm just used to being like very protective of myself, because I'm the only person looking out for me, honestly.
So Vandy,
like I said,
what else is coming down the pipes for you? What else can we expect from Vanity Constance?
What else can you expect? So from everything that's been transpiring, I did start something. You guys want to know what it is?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So, like I said, I've been working behind the scenes on some things, announcing it to the community. It's in the inaugural stage right now, but started this thing called Delaware Street Art Group. So it's all about so that's like my nonprofit that I'm going to be starting, right? And so what is it, right? So Delaware Street Art Group is all about art, like promoting local creatives and hiring them, and like promoting art installations, community events, and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, I'm really dedicated to community beautification and paying the creatives. That's what I care about. And so Delaware Street Art Group is about, decreasing like the racist shit in our community and making it more inclusive and making it more of a community things that represent our neighborhoods. I've done a lot of community projects, working with creatives and doing murals and painting utility boxes and things of that nature. But I finally decided from everything starting that I'm like, I need to take this and just leverage it, make it a real thing. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So it's just like pretty simple. It's like Delaware Street Art Group. We hire artists, we do things, and I love art. I love creatives. So I love paying people.
What's the next bridge painting?
So last year I had the great opportunity to paint the bridge, and the project was called United Neighbors, and we did a 3-day community event, and Westside Girls Together contracted me out, guys. That was last year. So their whole concept was called United Neighbors. So the bridge have you guys seen it yet?
Yeah, I drove past it a couple times. My sister
lived
on the west side, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing coming up, I really wasn't supposed to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. So there's a project coming up where I partnered with the city of Wilmington for my first Delaware Street, art group or whatever. We're going to be painting crosswalks, and I'm going to be paying artists to represent Black pride and Black empowerment through art by painting crosswalks throughout all the districts in the city of Wilmington. So who's going to power that is, you know, the powers that be, but I got to put more details out when I get more details.
Oh, we
So
definitely
that's
want
like
to hear about that.
yeah, that's the immediate thing. Like, I'm really dedicated. Like, it's like all about, it's just like, and that's why I don't think it's like in life, you just kind of keep going and you figure out like what you want to do, right? It's like you don't stop just because you don't have, people get discouraged just because they don't have an organization or they don't have a nonprofit. Like, oh, I can't do community work. That's not true. Like, you can have a social organization, you can have things that you're so passionate about, and you can still do them and not have an organization, you know? But it's like I finally reached a point in my life where I've helped enough. Like, I've helped a lot of nonprofits out. I've helped a lot of businesses out, and I know the logistics and the mechanics behind it a little bit more. But it's just more so like whatever you're passionate about, like if you want to leverage it, just make it a thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it's not perfect, but the fact that I'm starting, you know, and I do have like a legit mission statement and vision statement and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to like, what are you passionate about and how are you going to help out your community and pay yourself too? Always pay yourself. And I had to learn that the hard way too. Like, pay yourself. Community work, you can still get paid and you can still like make a difference and still have a business in the community, basically. So
I think to your point, unfortunately, you get a lot of people who either you know, as y'all spoke about, who will jump in for the wrong reasons, and that can get in some people's way.
oh yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree, because it's like you really, I don't do things for money. Like, I finally understand when all these, like, don't you guys hear all these, like, rich people and stuff on TV be like, don't do it for the money. Like, don't do it for the money. Like, do it from the heart. Da, da, da. And I'm like, it sounded so cliche for so many years. 2020 is the first year where I actually know what that means. Where it's like, if you really are passionate about what you want to do, if nobody can tell you about who you are and the shit that you got going on, and you're trying to figure out what you want to do by doing this, doing that, that's okay. To some people, it may look like you're lost a little bit, like they don't know what they're passionate about, or they're doing everything. Well, bitch, I'm doing everything because I'm figuring myself out. And I feel like that's the most self-loving thing that you can ever do, is figure out what you want to do, even if that means volunteering over here, you know, volunteering over there. But like really figuring out what you want to do. It's like interviewing the next chapter of your life. Like, what am I really passionate about? Like what do I want to do? And so I just find out that like 2020 has been very eye-opening for me and taking myself to the next journey where I'm setting myself up as a professional, a businesswoman, and really just fueling my passion so I can help other people.
Wow. That's what's up. That's very dope.
Mm-hmm.
So before we wrap up tonight, where can people find information about Vanity? Where would you like them to go?
Well, if y'all want to find out, I'm playing. Okay. So, you know, I have social media, guys. My page is open. So I have like an Instagram, I have a Snapchat, I have a TikTok, I have you know, a Facebook like page. TikTok, how you do it?
Not like that. Not like that. Yeah, we're gonna have to edit that point right there.
Stop it. But listen, that was kind of off. But no, I'm just the Vanity Constance. If you want to find me, I'm the Vanity Constance or Vanity Constance. And my email address is info@VanityCreates.com. But yeah, just follow me on Instagram. I'm down. Like, if you're a local creative that's interested in getting more involved in the community doing work, definitely hit me up.
And she's very approachable if you're approaching for the right reasons.
Facts, Lindsay.
She's very approachable if you're approaching for the right reasons. So if you're trying to get in contact and learn what you can do better for your community and everything, she's definitely a person to go to. If you're creative and you want to, you know, share your work with the world and everything, she's definitely a good person to get with. But if you come in with some racist or some BS, she's not approachable. Just don't even waste your time.
You're right.
Well, Vanity,
you're also cool.
we definitely look forward to getting you back on here once things get up and rolling and we get out of the pandemic and everything. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting the good fight and keep broadcasting it on live, and know that if it ever gets down to the point where you feel that you need some extra protection, feel free to call us. Because we got you back.
I really appreciate
we got
that.
You
Thank
back.
you.
You may not see us in the streets every day, but, you know, if it comes to protecting one of our own, one of our queens, we going to show up in force. So they need to understand that.
I appreciate that. Okay. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That really does.
Yeah.
Oh, facts. Facts a lot.
So everybody, I appreciate y'all for, you know, checking out BOREDinDE. If you haven't already, go to the site www.BOREDinDE.com. Get on the mailing list. We got some good things going on. As you see, you know, Jarrell's rocking, you know, our shirt today and everything.
Hey, you know, I need a shirt too.
Like that. Yeah. So I'll have that set up on the site to get those shirts on sale and get everybody, you know, that wants a shirt to have one and everything like that. And you can definitely find us on social media, BOREDinDE. It's Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, wherever. Just Google BOREDinDE and we'll definitely come up in the search. And until next time, this your man Tuck, Jarrell, and Vanity. Y'all have a good night.
Peace. Peace. Hey. Hey.
See that's why you leave the record button.